Hi, welcome to Integrative Preparedness. I'm Steve Smith. It's been a while since I've had a chance to put one up. Now, I know that I put one up on YouTube yesterday about active shooter, surviving active shooter in mass shooting situations. After that was a Patreon video that I put up a couple of weeks ago, I think, and I had intended to put it on YouTube at some later date, but it had been a little bit a while since I've been able to put one up on YouTube, and I thought, well, that'd be a good time. Wasn't sure if I'd have a chance, excuse me, to get back and shoot one today or not. So if you saw that, I hope you got something out of it. And if you haven't seen it, I suggest that you go back and watch it, because it's going to talk about some things that everybody needs to be aware of and think about as we approach the next phase of our country. Before I start on today, I'm going to talk today about one of the guaranteed collapses that is coming, and coming pretty soon. But before I get into that, I want to welcome all of the new subscribers. We've had just a bunch of y'all join, both on YouTube and over on Patreon. For those of you who wonder what the Patreon is, well, everything that I put on YouTube, I also put on Patreon, but I put other stuff over there that I don't release to the general public, as it were, for one reason or another. Maybe subject matter, maybe could be any number of things. Kind of consider it the VIP room. I put a lot of stuff here on general preparedness on the YouTube channel, but come on over to Patreon if you want just a little bit extra, and extra interchange also. I'll tell you what, not just for the extra that I put over there, but the quality of the comments over there are truly exceptional. Every time I put one up over on Patreon, I'm surprised at the quality of the comments and the additional information that's offered over there. Not that the comments aren't good on YouTube as well. They are. We got some great people here, but they go into a lot more depth. So if you want a little bit extra, I always put the link to the Patreon down here if you're interested. Now, for new people, just a couple of things. I hope that you get something out of the content here. I approach things a little bit differently than a lot of people do in the preparedness community. Doesn't mean that anybody's right and anybody's wrong. We come from different backgrounds, and so we have different perspectives, and you might pick up something from someone else that you don't get from me, and you might pick up something from me that you don't get from someone else. And that's the way it is. So hope you enjoy it and get something out of it. If you comment, do keep it polite. I do expect that. I consider this like my home. I don't, if somebody makes a rude comment or calls somebody a name or me a name, or, tell somebody they don't know what they're talking about, well, they're not invited back. And this is a channel for positivism, positive information, positive feedback. Happy to hear anything that you'd like to share. If you are going to share something, everybody's opinion, let us know if it's your opinion, but occasionally I have to bounce somebody off because they come back, with kind of a harsh, don't you know, or slamming another commenter, and I just don't go along for that. This is a place that everybody should feel good about coming to, and we'll keep it that way. Also, for those of you who wanted to know how to get my books, I also put those links down there below. So, okay, now we'll get into the meat of this matter. This video. There are two collapses that we are guaranteed to see. One is the collapse of our society to one extent or another, and we're going to see that coming here pretty soon. The other is a CME. If you're not familiar with that, it's a coronal mass ejection. You know what? I should have brought my books out here to show you for just a second, even though I'm not going to talk about that. Let me put you on pause for half a second. For those of you who are new, may not know about me, I'll be right back. Okay, I'm back, although I know that it didn't look like to you like I was gone at all. Um, what I was going to say here is that we are assured a CME. Um, Something came out in the news a couple of weeks ago that, and I knew a lot of people would probably be making videos on CMEs, and they did, and you know, they were good. It's great when people bring this out. It is the most catastrophic event that faces us, and we are guaranteed to have it. I'll explain that in the next one. But people came out and they talked a little bit about CMEs and the dangers and all that. They did a good job, but many of them, this is just kind of a part of their information or they're part of their knowledge, and they don't have an in-depth part. It's good that they bring it out and get people thinking about it. But I'm going to cover it in a little bit more detail in the next one. And the reason that I say that I can do that is because I wrote 4 books in the process of the 5th one about that very thing. The first one, my first book, is The Reversion, and it's talks about the ACME, what it does. It takes out the world. The second one is The Revival. I know I don't do this very well. The Revival. The third one is The Renewal. There we go. And the fourth one is An Appeal to Heaven. I'm working on the 5th one right now. Hopefully it'll be out this summertime. I do have so much, I have a lot going on. And sometimes I don't get the books written as quickly as I want to. And that one is called The Blessings of Freedom. But anyway, that will be coming out in the next few days. I'll make one addressing more about the true dangers of CMEs. We know what's going on in our country. We've seen it happen. We've seen what I call the devolution of our country. That doesn't mean it comes from the devil, although it very possibly could. It means it is devolving. It is collapsing. The quality of our life, our institutions, those things that we thought we could count on, our government, our entire society, and the extent to which one, affects the other, that's arguable. Doesn't really matter because it's happening, and to spend too much time wondering why it's happening and addressing that and arguing about that point keeps you away from actually deciding what you need to do about it and then doing it. We had a situation the other day. My wife showed me something. My wife Kelly, for those of you who have met her, she showed me something that came out on a Facebook page here in Kansas City. Now, I'm going to say something about Facebook also, and social media. A lot of people in the preparedness community scoff at social media and Facebook and all this kind of stuff, saying that you're just playing into the hands of the enemy and all this, right? I caution against that kind of thinking. It's intelligence. If you don't keep up with this kind of stuff, you're not going to know what other sides, other factions are doing or thinking or are talking about. And information is always critical when you are involved in a situation that you're going to need to make a decision on how to handle. In the I've done a couple over on Patreon just recently, a couple of videos, lessons from The Godfather. Well, one of the things that came out of one of those movies was the line, keep your friends close and your enemies closer. And what that means is simply stay aware, stay involved, be aware of what those who may be on the opposition, what are they thinking? What are they talking about? What are they planning? What are they doing? If you stay away from that, you're trying to fight a fight blindfolded because you don't know what's coming out. I was intelligence for some time, and that is the name of the game. Okay, intelligence. Well, without it, you're not going to be able to properly anticipate and deal with what's coming down the road. So uh, I do suggest that people stay on those things. And if you don't want to, okay, but you're not going to know what's going on in the world, and if you just want to hide out, um, you won't know that the enemy's coming at you until they're at your door. And I think that at your door is a foolish place to fight the fight. Well, anyway, she was telling me about this. On a Facebook page here in Kansas City. And it's not on the news. That's the thing. If you just watch the news, you would never hear about this. But apparently there have been protests, demonstrations, riots, whatever you want to call them, down at the Kansas City, Missouri Police Department headquarters every Friday night for some time. I shot one down there right in front of the headquarters. It's been maybe a month ago. I don't know, several weeks ago anyway. Talking about the cities, but it's right down there at the police department to where they've been having some fairly volatile demonstrations, and we know that this is happening all across the country. This last week, they brought a makeshift coffin down there with a dead pig in it, dressed in a police uniform, and they put it on the steps of police headquarters. And they lit it on fire. Okay, this is an escalation above what we have seen before, and of course it got everybody all stirred up. The problem is there was no response from the police to this until a couple of people in the crowd, being the fine, upstanding citizens that they are, got into a fight, and one knifed another one, and then all of a sudden, let's call the police, right? Those horrible pigs that we detest so much, and now we got to call them because somebody got hurt. Okay, we all know what kind of sense that makes. But this is an escalation, and this is an escalation that we're going to be seeing increase in intensity and in tempo. I think we know what's going on around our country. We know what's happening with the border. We know that our our vice president went down to Guatemala and Mexico to determine the cause of illegal immigration. What do you want to bet that she'll come back and say that she found out that crime and poverty were the causes that people wanted to leave those countries? And what do you want to bet that she'll say that we need to spend more money and send more money down there to keep them down there? Well, that's kind of an aside. I'm not going to get into that today. This movement up of mass illegal immigration that was slowing down there for a while, that is simply going to amplify the problems from that sector. We know also from a financial standpoint that the forbearance programs for mortgage payments and for rent is over in June. A lot of people are going to be losing their houses, losing their apartments. We already have so many people that have lost their job in the last 18 months. Many of them stayed out of work because they were relying on those Uncle Sugar checks coming in, not just the stimulus, but those enhanced unemployment benefits. That the people would rather be taking those. And I mean, I get it. Our country is not full of exceptional people, right? It's full of a whole lot of people that would rather sit on their butts. And when you can pay them to sit on their butts, how much better does it get for them, right? Now, the last time I said that our country was not full of exceptional people, I got some ding-dong coming on and going, well, how can you say that there's not exceptional people in the United States? Okay, this is exactly what I was talking about earlier when I said don't be an idiot when you make a comment, because that's not what I said. I said it's not full of exceptional people, and I would say that it's getting less and less full of exceptional people with each passing year. It's certainly not like it was when I was younger. So we're going to see pressure, economic pressure, coming from that. We've seen pressure on our prices. We've seen, gas, food, lumber. Everybody knows about all that stuff. Inflation is coming. the end result of that inflation and some of these other things, the inflated markets, the stock market is inflated, the real estate market is inflated, and these all go together into a perfect formula for a collapse. That's going to happen. There will be an economic collapse. There will be a societal collapse as our current administration, who obviously, I won't say that they're not able to do what they want to, because they're doing exactly what they want to, and people don't realize that they are bringing a collapse of this country. Now, the thing is, what are you going to do about it? Are you going to be ready for it? And how are you going to come out of it? I have always been a proponent of active preparedness as opposed to passive preparedness. And I think I'll probably do a separate video on that, maybe detailing some of that stuff. But to me, preparedness is not about hunkering down. It is not about just having enough food, water, everything else, fuel stocked up to just kind of hide in my little hidey hole and wait for it all to blow over. That's not in my nature. I think that when things are going on, you need to be involved in them. That's why you need to know what's going on. You can't just go out and hide. And that bad times bring bad things to uninformed people, and they bring suffering to uninformed and unprepared people. They bring tremendous opportunities to prepared and informed people. Now, the question is, which are you? Which do you want to be? And if you're not where you want to be, what do you need to do about it? Understand what's going on. When things come down, I've said this before. I've heard people say, buy land, all this, and I've been saying no. Land is overpriced. Real estate is overpriced. I watch real estate every day. I price real estate in about 6 counties on a daily basis. And I'm not going to buy for a long, I'm not going to buy another piece of property for quite a while, because I don't buy when it's high. You buy when it's low. This is coming down, but I watch the market so I see what's happening. Okay. The thing to do now is to maximize making money, stack your cash, like I've always said. Stack cash. Do those things that you need to do that you think are going to cost more money during an inflationary period. Okay, if you've got something, if you've got some things that you know you're going to need to buy in the next year or so, get them now, because they're just going to go up. We just replaced an engine in one of our vehicles. It's a nice vehicle. The engine needed some help. We said, hey, put a brand new one in there, because we don't want to be dealing with inflated prices when that comes along. At the end of the inflation, we see the crash. And when those two kind of come together, and they do, because it doesn't always come in a neat package, it can really hurt some people. So stack your cash, be ready for it, increase right now, and fill any holes in your preparedness that you may have. Take a good hard look at your preparedness. Do you have enough food? And I ran into a couple of people. I'm going to kind of make they're clients of ours. I'm going to make a video kind of about them on new preppers here in maybe a couple 3 videos after this, and some advice of what people should do when they're just getting into it. But most of you are experienced. Look at your preparations. What are the holes? What are the weaknesses? Fill those up now. Get to the point where if you didn't have to go to work, if you didn't have to go out for 3 years, you'd be fine. Okay, that's really your goal. And when people say, well, I don't know how you can do that, my advice would be, if you don't see how you can do that, start thinking about how you can do that. Because that attitude of, I don't see how you can do that, do you see that's not a question. That's not asking anybody to show you how to do it. It's your statement that it can't be done. Okay, and I'm not talking to you personally, but we all know a lot of people like that. This statement, well, I don't know how you can do that. Okay, that's a a preemptive excuse on the part of a person that they're not going to do it because they just, okay. So think about it. Look at your weak spots. Expect for this world to become much dicier. It's going to get more violent. Be aware. Be prepared everywhere you go. If you need a little more training on protection, in whatever vein that could be, go get it. If you need to be in a little bit better shape, do it. If you need to improve your diet, lose a few pounds, do it. If you have some health problems, you need to take care of those. Get to the doctor. See what needs to be tuned up. Get those things done. You want to go into hard times, and hard times is relative. I mean, it could be hard in one area and not hard in another. But challenging times are more difficult when you have other issues to deal with. So get yourself together. Tune yourself up as well as you can so that whatever's coming down the road is just going to be something to deal with, not something that necessarily is going to destroy you. So we, in my opinion, we are guaranteed this. There is going to be a societal collapse. Maybe not a total one. Maybe everything doesn't go down to a WROL, but in some areas it already is, and in more areas it's going to be. The cities, and by that I mean, I know that some people think of the cities as, wherever people live within 100 feet of each other. No, that's not what I mean. I mean the cities. The cities are going to implode. They're going to be very dangerous places to go. The police are leaving in droves. Kansas City, Missouri Police Department just took $45 million away from the law enforcement track and put it on social programs track. They're losing twice as many officers as they normally do in a year. And I just heard from somebody who's well placed and who should know that they do not have any academy classes scheduled for the coming year. And that's unheard of. In other words, they're losing twice as many cops every year as they ever have, and nobody else wants to be a cop. But I've been saying that for a long time. That's exactly what's going to happen. And when you have more of these people who see that they can raise Cain and nothing's going to be done about it, and you have more and more cops leaving, this world is going to be a very dangerous place. So anyway, that's what I wanted to talk about today. Get yourself ready. Be as prepared as you possibly can be. Keep yourself safe. Keep yourself informed, and try to inform those around you. You have family and friends and people you run into. You can have an effect. You can help them. Can't help everybody, but you can help those who are willing to listen if you will somehow broach the subject. So I'll leave you with that, and just remember that we prepare well today in order to live well tomorrow. And like I've also said before, I have every intention of living well tomorrow, and I think you do too. You should, and that's why I prepare well today, and I hope you do too. I'll leave it at that. You all have a good day. I'll talk to you tomorrow. Bye-bye.